Attention S&P artists, are you looking to take your business to the next level? It's time to fully systemize your studio for growth with the ultimate sales and marketing platform for S&P artists, HighLead. With HighLead, you get everything that you need to save time and effortlessly generate more consultations and bookings on autopilot. And guess what? HighLead is not just a system, but also one of the largest Google ad agencies in the world for S&P professionals. Imagine having a marketing strategy that's tailor-made for the S&P industry, driving high-quality leads right to your studio. Say goodbye to the struggle of finding the latest marketing trend. HighLead has you covered. Invested into your training? Check. Invested into your equipment and studio setup? Check. Now it's time to invest into your marketing strategy. Don't risk your marketing budget on anything else until you've experienced HighLead's growth system and Google Ads services. Visit GoHighLead.com today to book a free demo now and join the hundreds of S&P artists who've embraced HighLead to thrive in their businesses. On the free no-obligation demo call, a member of HighLead's team will answer all of your questions and help you unlock the potential of your S&P studio by getting you more bookings. Visit GoHighLead.com today.
Yo, if you're a tattooer, tattoo shop, or even a distributor, and you're looking to elevate your business, keep watching. Richie Bulldog here, founder of Hustle Butter. And if you don't know us, that's crazy. Hustle Butter is a premium line of tattoo products designed for in-process and is aftercare. Hustle Butter was created with the best artists in the world, so you know it's a top quality product. Artists love it, clients love it, everybody loves it. And the best part is you could sell Hustle Butter for a profit by becoming an authorized wholesaler. Now let me tell you why you should sign up today. Reduced pricing. Our authorized wholesalers get unbeatable prices on all of our Hustle Butter products. Use the product for yourself or sell it to your clients. You won't find these prices this good anywhere else. Extra revenue. You can sell our products to your clients for a profit, using that extra cash to help with the rent, business expenses, or anything you may need. Artists and shops around the world are selling Hustle Butter every single day. Dedicated support. You'll get assigned a dedicated Hustle Butter rep that you can reach out to anytime. They can help you learn about different products, assist with ordering, and more. No chatbots here, bro. $40 off your very first order. Try out our new products or subsidize your first order with our $40 credit. $40, that's sick. It only takes 60 seconds or less to sign up. Yeah, I told you it was easy. All you have to do is apply on our website, hustlebutter.com, under wholesale. It takes no more than 1 minute. Apply today, get connected to a dedicated Hustle Butter rep, and start making extra money. We're here to help today, tomorrow, and forever. You can't knock the hustle.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Scalp Solutions Podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with one of the brightest rising stars in the industry, Hayden Ayrton. At last year's Meeting of the Minds event, Hayden took home the nomination for the Best Natural Hairline and was a winner for the Rising Star Award, cementing his place as to one to watch. His ability to craft natural, seamless hairlines has caught the attention of clients and artists worldwide. In this episode, we're going to dive into Hayden's approach to designing natural hairlines, the technique that sets him apart, and the mindset that's driven his rapid rise in the industry. So if you're looking to step up your S&P game, this is going to be an episode that you do not want to miss. So let's welcome onto the podcast, Hayden Ayrton.
G'day, Dave. How are you, mate? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing great. Thank you for taking out some time from your busy schedule to jump on the podcast. Hopefully today we get to extract some gems on how to craft a nice, beautiful, natural hairline.
We can try, brother. We can try.
We can try. So check this out, Hayden. Let's get right into it. First of all, congratulations on your awards and your nominations at last year's Meeting of the Mind event. How did that feel to be recognized for Best Natural Hairline and as a rising star?
Man, to be honest, because where I come from, down here, S&P is sort of still in its infancy. It's really new. You've got a few artists that have been doing it for a little while, but it really added legitimacy to what I've been trying to do for the last 3 years. shining light on the SMP industry as a whole rather than myself. I feel like if we can shine light on the industry, it's better for everybody. You know what I mean? It
For
gets it
sure.
out there. It was cool. The nomination for Best Natural Hairline was a total surprise, man. I've got videos. I was recording because, like, obviously all my mates were going up. I saw Paul Clark go up, and I was recording him, and then they called out my name, and I was just like, "What?" And I looked at my wife, and yeah, that was pretty cool, man, to be on stage. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, the Rising Stars incredible too, but that's limited to a 2 year. You know, people that have been in the industry for less than 2 years to
Right.
be recognized with the big dogs, the guys that have been in the industry for years and years. That was something real special for me.
So the
Yeah.
so the rising star was like, okay, this is great. I appreciate it. You know, because you feel
Mm.
like you said, right? All right, this is within my league. But now
Yes,
you're
that one
stepping
was sort of a
into
step up.
yeah,
Yeah,
you went
and that
you
sort of
went
blew my mind. I was standing on stage next to Paul Clark, and I looked at him, and I was like, I never thought, and you know, I've been in the industry 3 years. I'd be standing up on a stage next to you. You know, it was crazy,
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's got to
crazy.
be such an amazing feeling. Now, what
Yeah.
initially drew you to scalp micropigmentation, and how was it that you developed such a passion for crafting the natural hairlines?
Man, to be honest, I didn't want to do SMP at the start. It wasn't something I was interested in. It wasn't something we because we own, to put it into context, we own a PMU academy. We've owned this and we've operated it for about 10 years. So we
Got it.
train and operate in PMU. SMP was always there and we always knew about it, but we didn't think it was something we wanted an avenue we wanted to go down. We actually met a lady in Australia called Caitlin James who ended up training me, and she sort of changed my view on SMP. She pushed me more towards, showed me some of the results that, because what we were seeing was some of the older work, where the technology and you sort of needles, pigments, machines hadn't really advanced as much as they have now. So we went and we had to sit down with her. We met her at a conference. We had to sit down, and she started pushing us towards showing us some of her results, her long-term results. Because I mean, she's been in the industry 10 years, showing us the results of Paul Clark, Mark Allen, Will Quaid, these guys that have been pumping out that natural stuff. And that's what changed me. I saw these guys' results and I saw what it actually can be. And I was like, okay, cool. This is something I can do. I like this now. Yeah, you know, and it's no disrespect to anyone, but when you search SMP if you're not in the industry or you're a client or you don't know much about it, you often get pushed towards
The
the
bad
botch
work.
stuff. Yeah, the bad work and the botch stuff. So for me, not being in the industry, not knowing anything about SMP, that's what I was seeing, and I'm like, why would I want to do that? So it's when you get stuck up in the algorithm and you start going down rabbit holes, and it starts pushing you that way. It was good to break and get pushed towards these artists. You got your KRTs, your Billies. You find these guys work, and you think that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And then I went and trained. Well, I signed up to train with Caitlin at SMP Australia. Then COVID hit, so I couldn't travel, couldn't do anything. So I was pretty much stuck in my house with silicone pads and pigment needles and a machine.
Get
I
your
was,
own practice in.
yeah, bro. I was very lucky that my wife's a PMU artist. She's been a PMU artist for about 12 years. So she sort of had me, because I don't come from a tattooing background. I'm a chef by trade. I was a chef for 17 years.
What is that? A
I was a
chef.
chef.
I'm sorry. A
Yeah.
chef.
I was a chef for
Ah.
17 years.
So you don't okay, so you guys own a PMU academy.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you, like, so are you a PMU artist by trade? No, you had no PMU,
No,
no tattoo
no,
background.
nothing.
You
No,
was a
I was a
chef.
chef. Yeah, I owned my own cafe and restaurant. We had these two businesses, and my wife got pregnant for the third time. So we sort of had to weigh out. We can't run two businesses and have three kids. So we shut down my side of the business, and I was a stay-at-home dad for 5 years. Stayed home with the kids, and
Awesome,
then
man.
then I got into tattoo removal. a laser removal, just doing that a little bit on the side. And then, like I said, the SMP thing came up. I kind of forgot where I was there in my story.
No, we were talking about yeah what drew you to scalp micropigmentation,
Oh,
and
yes.
how you develop like the passion for crafting the natural hairlines.
That's it. So then COVID hit, and I was stuck in my house with, yeah, like I said, needles, pigment, and silicone skin. So I just started practicing and practicing and practicing. And my wife, again, she's a very talented artist. So I'm not. So she sort of had me, with the fading and the pointillism and layering and things like that. Um, she came up with exercises for me to do, which she knows nothing about SMP, but she knows about tattooing, permanent makeup, and how pigment settles in the skin. So it was good to be able to learn from her while we we're on lockdown. Then lockdown finished, I went and did my initial 4-day course, I think it was. And now I know there's a lot out there about 3 and 4-day courses and things like that. I trained with Caitlin James, Anna James, Tony A, all within 3 months of doing my fundamentals training. I think when people say the 4-day courses, yes, there's onus on the trainer, but there also has to be onus on the student, excuse me, to be able to push forward and go with it. No one's going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And the more you get out there, and the more because you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And especially in SMP, it can be very, you're one person, you work in one room, you don't really collaborate, especially here where there's only like 6 artists in the whole country.
Man, that's actually
So
not bad.
yeah, so you don't know what you don't know. So in my head, I just figured I'll get out there and I'm not going to take everything from everybody. People might teach me things that I don't necessarily like, but I'm going to nitpick and I'm going to make my own style. What I did get from Caitlin was a really good core, basic fundamentals of SMP. She's really strong on that. And then, yeah, like I said, I just pick little bits from other artists, other trainers, and sort of made my own style. I guess made something that works for me, I guess.
So now you got nominated for Best Natural Hairline, right? And
Yes.
that's no small accomplishment. Can you walk us through your process, right? When you're designing a hairline
Mm.
and to make it look seamless and realistic. Because I understand you've went to you got 3 different trainings, and you kind of just like, well, this is what I'm going to use from this one, this one, this one, and you kind of created your own method to
Yeah,
creating the natural hairline. Can you walk us through that
for
as
sure. I
best as you
mean,
can? I know it's easier to ask the question than to like
yeah,
have you express it. So just try your best.
yeah. Well, as you know, David, every hairline's different. I mean, we're not cookie cutter. We're not doing the same thing out of the box every time. But there also needs to be there does need to be some sort of symmetry. So I believe you do have to have the measurements to find the symmetry first, and then you can sort of freehand the hairline after that. Measuring, your temporal points to the middle, a lot of raising eyebrows, finding the facial muscle. That's things you can see with your eye, but some people's heads aren't necessarily symmetrical. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you might draw a straight line through here, but the head's not symmetrical. You know what I mean? So I guess when it comes to crafting a hairline, I do a bit of both. I will measure up a little bit and I will freehand a little bit. It was pretty cool when I was in New York. I went with KRT and he did a client and I sort of shadowed him around. And now the way he does it is not necessarily the way I do it, but that was like another one that I sort of picked little bits out of it. And I thought that could work, but this probably won't work for me because, like I said before, I'm not a very artistic person. I need to have systems and processes in order, steps to get me to where I need to be. But in hanging out and picking bits, I am kind of getting that little bit of artistic flair where I now can see what I'm doing and see where it needs to be, without pulling out the ruler or pulling out the tape measure. You know what I mean?
You're evolving.
Yeah, that's it. And we've got to keep evolving. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You have to keep learning.
For sure. Now, what do you think? Because you said it yourself, you know, not all hairlines are the same and not all ways to go about setting the hairline is the same. What do you think separates a good hairline from a truly great natural looking hairline?
Okay, this question can be a bit, I guess, what do you call it? Like up to the individual.
Correct.
But I tend to, and I think it was you, actually, one of your posts that I read on Facebook, someone was talking about the edge ups, where it's not, it's more of a cultural thing.
Yes.
You were saying, so for us over here, they don't exist. We edge ups aren't a thing. You might.
So what doesn't exist? Like a hard hairline?
Yeah, like people don't go to the barber and get that. It's
Got
just
you.
not a thing. So for me, when I see that, it's a bit unnatural because I don't see it every day. And what makes, I guess I'm more of I lean more towards a bead hairline, a nice faded out, you know, those hairlines that just fade out to nothing.
Yeah, nice gradient.
Yeah, and it's, I think, knowing your tools, what you're using. I'm a firm believer. I don't just use one pigment. I mean, I use one pigment I don't mix pigments on jobs, but every job I do may be a different pigment. Like I might use Pigmenta for one, I might use Bishop for one, just because I know how they heal and I know what they're going to look like in the long run. And if I want a really, really faded, nice, natural hairline, I know that Bishop heals a little bit lighter. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go with that because it's going to give me that faded. Whereas if I go with the Pigmenta, I know that heals just a little bit darker and a little bit more, not as matte. It's a little bit stronger. So
it's
I'm
more
not going to
like
use
concentrated.
That for that. Yeah.
So let me ask you, just, you know, I don't mean to cut you off, but it just like throws me into another. We're essentially taught that we have this dilution ratio, right? Mm-hmm. Where we can just take the pigments, and if we want them to go lighter, right, we add more dilutant to it. Is there a particular reason why you wouldn't take one pigment and just say, well, you know what, I'm going to just dilute it a little more until I achieve that lighter, grayer tone that I want?
I find with the pigments that I use, because they literally heal a different black. One's going to heal like a shiny metallic-y, like you said, concentrated black, and the other one's just going to, just doesn't heal.
It's like a washed.
Yeah, it's more of a wash. And that's what I want in my hairlines. I still want the impressions to hold in, yeah, but I kind of want them to almost fall out a little bit. So then we're not getting 100% retention. It's kind of, I don't know, it's that little wisp out, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you could dilute them down and you could put a little bit more dilution in but it's still going to be a different black to what, and I know this is a big thing out there at the moment, all pigments the same pigment, and I don't know. I just know what I know, and I know what I use, and I know what's in front of me, and I've seen the healed results, so I just stick with that.
Yeah, that is one of the things, like all pigment is the same pigment, and then you start realizing, like, for example, the podcast that's out now is with Matt Aiulo, right? And he's talking about like what he's done and how he reformulated you know, his pigment. And I asked him, right, you know, it was kind of one of those like, well, let's find out, you know, are all pigments the same? And then you hear him break down how, like, well, yeah, they could be made with the same ingredients, but they don't all have the same qualities of ingredients. And we all know, like, there could be you know, there could be 10 black powders, but these black powders are coming from 10 different manufacturers. Like, who's using quality, who's not? So I get it. I understand, 100%. You know, your method to the madness, but I asked you that because it's just interesting to hear. And
we get a lot of new S&P artists that listen to this podcast, and I'm almost kind of like, this is why we bring artists on like you, because if we don't know any better and we look at your work, all we're going to see is go, okay, well, he's probably using an 18 dilution and then he brought it down to like a 10, and maybe this is maybe like a 3 to achieve that fade effect. But the reality of it is, you're not just sticking to one pigment. You're using multiple to create
depending
the
on the
overall
skin,
look.
depending on the skin color, the skin, the elasticity of the skin, the viscosity of the pigment too. Like some pigments are a lot thicker than other pigments when you dilute
Yes.
them down. It is what it is. So I work with. I guess I know in my head when I meet a client, when I have the consultation, I'm formulating what that hairline is going to look like while we're sitting there talking. So I know whether I do a test patch or I don't do a test patch, I know what the shape and what sort of fade out it's going to be. So I've made the decision pretty much within 10 minutes of my client sitting down for a consultation, what pigment I'm going to use
Nice.
on them.
That's awesome.
And it's just, you just got to take it as a case-by-case basis, man. And because skin's different too. You might use a 18 dilution on one person and then go to use an 18 dilution on another person. It's totally different. So you just got to take it as it comes.
We could go on I think we could have a podcast solely talking about the dilution ratio chart and how artists need to understand that that's just a sample. Like this is where you could potentially start from, because some look at these charts and they treat it like it's the holy grail, not realizing listen, that 18 could look great on this client, and now you have another client with the same skin, kind of same undertones, and you use that same 18 and you're like, holy shit, that looks really dark.
But then there's also too, your touch comes into it.
Of course, the manipulation of
how heavy you are. You might be a little bit more heavy-handed. You might be a bit lighter, so you could afford to go darker. Do you know what I mean? I know artists. I've got good friends, artists that the dilution that they use, I would never dream of using. But they've worked with it for years and they know how it works. They know how it works with their technique. That's cool, man. That's awesome. But it's an individual thing. You get people asking you, what color did you use? What needles did you use? What machine did you use? Bro, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's down to your personal, I can tell you, and I'll tell everyone I'm a Bishop guy. I use Bishop everything. But my Bishop and your Bishop might be two different bishops. It's just the way we work.
Just because we use the same tools that you say you use doesn't mean we're going to get the same
We're going to get the
same results.
Yeah.
What are some, and I'm pretty sure you get a lot of questions, right? What are some of the most common mistakes that you're seeing artists could do when they're attempting to create natural hairlines, and how can they avoid them?
That's a hard one. I guess can't give away all the secrets, Dave, but one of the biggest ones I see, and I was guilty of it in my early career too, was just not giving yourself enough room to the front of the hairline, not starting your gradient way too close to the front. This is a tattoo, right? So we want to work safely, effectively, and progressively. So you can leave your hairline back in the first session, the second session, and then you get to the third and think, I'm going to drop that down a little bit more. But don't just rush in straight to that bottom line. You know what I mean? Start your fade way back, and then add more. You can't take it out, but you can always put it back in.
When you're on social media and you see the photos, the artists where they like map it out, and then you see the like what's supposed to be their fade line, like that close.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever feel compelled, like, it's like, I kind of want to do the right thing and tell them, like, bro, you don't have enough space to fade out there?
When it comes to things like that with social media, I try and stay away from. I mean, I want to help people, but I also don't, you say something to help people and all of a sudden you're getting attacked for being a know-it-all, or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, this guy won
Yeah, it's like,
rising star. He thinks he's
that's
big
it.
shit.
So whatever, man. But no, like with that fade line, I see it all the time. So what I do, and what I've started doing over the last 2 years, I might put 3 or 4 fade lines in, and
Yeah,
I
I
still
do
put
the
the
same.
lines in for myself because,
Yeah.
I do it a lot, but I put the lines in so I know I'm coming down and working down, and I'm fading out to the end. So I might put, depending on what we're doing, I might put 3 fade lines in, or I might put just 2, or maybe sometimes just 1.
So now, is this something that you on your own developed, or this is with the training? Was this one of the like, oh, okay, this artist did this, or did you just one day go, well, you know what, I'm gonna put 2 fade lines. Oh, well, you know what, let me see if I can do 3 fade lines, and
Yeah.
what that outcome is gonna look like.
It was more from, I mean, I got a little bit from the training, a little bit from other artists. You're going to notice this is going to become a thing in this podcast. KRT has been a huge influence on my career. He helped me a lot with that. But it was more just using thinking, like if I want it to fade out, how do I make it fade out? And that's obviously just having more space and opening my work up a bit more. So yeah, I guess it was a little from column A, a little from column B, in that one.
Nice. Shout out to Christian. Christian, I tried to get him on the podcast, but he's too Hollywood for me, man. He won't. He won't
Bro,
do it.
he rang me just before when he found out that I was coming on with you, and he was like, "Tell Dave I won't do it." You know,
He wants to be paid. He said he wants to be paid if he's going to come on my podcast. And you know
Pay
what?
the man.
It's so funny because I remember I was messing with you guys when I met you guys in New York, because
Yeah.
I was going around telling everyone, I was like, you see those 2 guys sitting on the couch? These guys are fucking charging the artist to take pictures with them. And people were like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I was like, no.
Ever wonder what keeps me focused and energized during long S&P sessions and Scalp Solutions Podcast? It's Wava Water. Wava isn't just water. It's a whole new experience. It combines lightly caffeinated sparkling water with binaural beats of sound frequencies and music. Together, they help boost creativity, productivity, and focus. And here's the best part. It's as refreshing as it is delicious. So, whether you're creating that perfect hairline for a client or tuning in to elevate your S&P game with the Scalp Solutions Podcast, Wava Water keeps you refreshed and ready to perform at your best. Because great work starts with great tools and great hydration. Wava Water. Refresh your focus, boost your confidence. Find out more at wavawater.com. Today, I want to talk to you about something crucial for your S&P business, where you get your tools. It's not just about having the right tools, it's about getting them from a source you can trust. And that's why I recommend Palms Fashion. Palms Fashion has been serving professionals since 1991, right here in the heart of New York City. As a family-run business, they've built a reputation for providing new and authentic products to licensed professionals around the world. And now, they're taking it a step further by offering scalp micropigmentation supplies so you can get everything you need in one place. They're an official distributor of the biggest names in the industry: Andis, Wall, Babyliss, Stylecraft, Ink Care, and more. These are the brands we trust to deliver flawless results, and Palms Fashions ensures you're getting genuine products with full warranties, plus S&P supplies you need to keep your business running smoothly. Your tools and supplies are an investment in your craft and your success as an S&P artist. So don't just buy from anywhere. Trust the experts at Palms Fashion. Whether you're in New York City or shopping online at palmsfashioninc.com, they've got everything you need to take your business to the next level. Remember, trust the best, trust Palms Fashion.
They're charging people to take pictures with them. And they were like, you better be joking.
We made a shitload that night too.
You got a lot of free drinks, right?
Yeah.
So is there a particular tool or pigment that you feel makes a significant difference when you're achieving softer, more realistic results? Like I know that you use different needles or different pigments, but do you have that one combination that's usually your go-to?
I do. Yeah, I do. It's Bishop Pigment. the concentrate. I use that because I can mix that down to exactly what I want it to be.
You said Bishop pigment,
Yeah, the
and then
concentrate.
you
So
said concentrate. Is that's their line where they have like the 10 different dilutions?
no, that's just the one. Oh, I've got a bottle somewhere. It's just the one dark, and it's the same as every other one.
Is that specific to S&P?
Yep, it's S&P ink. I'll just grab it out my drawer.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it's just that one. Where are we? That one there.
And it's called. Oh, okay. I
Bishop
see.
S&P. So it's the same as the shades range, but those are just pre-mixed. This is you mix
That's
yourself.
pure. You mix it on your.
Yeah, mix it on my own.
I see. Oh, I see.
That paired with the Bishop 04. The Bishop 04 needles. Shit, again, like I said, I can't give away all the secrets, but those needles, they just give they're really, really
Nice,
small
tight.
and they're really precise. Yeah, and they're just, I can't explain it. It's like that little fade away at the end.
It's it gives what you're trying to refer to is, so let's say, and this is for the listeners, I guess for the viewers too, because we're not actually showing it. I'm assuming what you're trying to describe is the impression, and then it's kind of got like the light halo around it, right? That kind of blurs it.
Yeah,
Is that what you?
it's kind of like, how do you explain it? When you put an impression in and you're coming down around the hairline, this is for me, and please, I'm not talking on behalf of the industry or anyone. I'm talking on behalf of what
This
I
is
do.
for you. This is the
Yeah.
method to your madness.
When I come down to the hairline, I'm almost pulling my pressure a little bit, so I'm getting to the right depth, but I'm not like doing a proper impression, if that makes sense.
So you're doing a proper impression, but I guess what you're saying is not the needle hang is not as long, so it's kind of like you're extracting it sooner so that
Yeah.
it doesn't stay in too long and give you an impression that's too prominent.
That's right. Yeah, and I want something that's almost gonna, like, don't get me wrong, I still want to have hard, dark impression. No, not dark, but hard impressions in that hairline. But I also want to mix it with these sort of half impressions that are, yeah, it's kind
To
of
create
hard to
that's what you're using to create depth. That's to give it that 3D.
Yeah.
I say like this 3D look because we
3D,
know it's
yeah.
not right.
100%.
Let's sell them on the 3D hairline there, Hayden. So hairline density, that could make or break results, right? I'm pretty sure you've heard it. Maybe you even use it in your consultations. I know I absolutely use it when I tell my clients, like, listen, your hairline, this is your business card, right? That being
100%.
said,
That exact line to my business.
you use the okay. I should have trademarked it, man. So that being said, how, if you know that the hairline, right? Well, not that you agree that the hairline makes or breaks the results. How do you approach layering the impressions to build the gradual? Because I know you said you can go with the 3 fade lines, but what I'm looking for is with your first session, second session, and third session. So, like, do you find yourself on the second session maybe going back and hitting another impression to kind of give it a little more oomph? Are you doing that on the first session, or are you doing that on the third?
Yeah. Sometimes, like, especially in the hairline, if I feel like it needs to be a little darker, then yeah, I will hit another one in the second session. But often I'm not, because then you can overcrowd it and it can start getting, you lose all the
Dense.
fades. Yeah, you're just densening it up. So yeah, hitting ones that you feel like are a little bit light, yeah, that's fine. And just like I said, and this is my madness, no one else's, I keep my hairline higher and I drop it down as I go, if that makes sense. So I'm coming down more.
Yes.
And because I might use 3 different shades of pigment per session, I can switch between them and have the different shades coming in. So yeah, because if you start putting more in, and then you just densen it up too much, and you lose the whole effect that you're going for, which is
So
something that I struggled with when I first started, because of exactly that. I just thought if I just add more, and then it's ruined.
you ruined. It's ruined.
Yeah.
So you just said you use three. You can sometimes use up to 3 shades per session. So if I'm understanding this correctly, you're not saying you're not going with, and I hate throwing this around. I don't want to say it's traditional, but I guess it's kind of fair to say, because that's kind of like what's being taught out there, right? On the fundamental level is like you stick with one dilution on one session, and when they come back, you make your adjustments, and then you go with another dilution. But you're saying
See, I've never
you're
heard
making
that.
those adjustments. You never heard that? Okay, well,
I wasn't
congratulations.
taught that way. I was taught to use two two different dilutions. So I might use say a 22 and an 18, because for me the difference going down 2 is you don't notice
Not
it.
much,
So you go
not
down,
much of a
nah.
right.
So if you go down 4, so I got taught to use one dilution for your hairline and blends, and then the rest, the darker one for the density. So in your fade lines, and instead of, you're
Interesting.
not just stopping with one dilution, you're sort of blending them in together. So
Right.
you're coming up with the light color and down with the dark color. So you're getting that rather than like just a hard line. But yeah, that's
Nice.
how I was taught, and it wasn't until I started meeting other artists that they were like, "Wait, you use 2 pigment types?" I'm like, yeah, do you not? And people are like, "No, man, I just use one."
I will tell you right now, very few artists use 2 or 3, because even when they've asked me, they're like, "Oh, what dilution ratio did you use for that?" I used 14 and an 18. And they're like, no. What you use on the first session with no, I used a 14 and an 18 to break it up
Okay.
and already start creating depth. And the reason for that is, right, you want to get rid of the cul-de-sac, right? You're blending that in.
Yeah,
And then on
man.
the hairline, I'm going lighter. And so many artists are like, dude, they're mind blown off of that. And that just goes to show, like, I don't want to get into training, but it just goes to show like how shit some trainings out there are, because that's something that should be taught on the most fundamental basic level.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
you tell this to majority of the artists, they're like, I never
Oh,
even
see,
heard of that.
that blows my mind. I thought it was the other way around. I thought
Well,
most people would do it like us with two or 3 pigments. And
no,
oh, okay.
they
That's
will
news to me.
now when they hear this podcast.
Well, it just makes sense. Like, how do you expect to get it? And
Yeah.
I mean, some people can get it with just their touch. Don't get me wrong. But if you
Yes,
struggle with
there
that,
are some artists that have that
100%,
skill.
100%.
Absolutely.
But if you struggle with that, or you're learning it, why not just drop your pigment color? It's the easiest way to create the fade. It just is, because you're lightening up.
So now you got 2 dilutions, right? Let's go with a scenario here, right? Let's try to paint the picture here for those that are listening, and for the ones that are watching, they can see our hand gestures, right? It's gonna probably look like we're throwing up some gang signs right now.
Yeah.
So we got 2 different dilutions. Let's say we're working with a 14, we're working with an 18. The client is a Norwood 7.
Mhm.
You're gonna be taking the 14, and you're gonna be using that for the to blend in the back of the head, like the crown where the cul-de-sac is. 14 will be the darkest, and 18 will be the lightest.
I'm using that for the density and for the back, but I'm where the cul-de-sac is. I'm gonna still use the 18 past the natural hair, but I'm gonna use the 14 up to the natural hair, and then I'm gonna switch and fade out. Same with your transition points on the side, your temporal areas. Obviously, when you're coming into the front temples, your hair naturally gets a bit softer and a bit lighter. And then from whatever fade line I've chosen, I'm going to use the lighter color down past there
to fade out. Understand. So if we're trying to create like a visual aid here for the artist, let's say
Yes.
this is the natural hair, right?
Hmm.
Up here is the cul-de-sac.
Hmm.
You're gonna come in with the 14 right here, right, to help with the concealing the
To
transition
blend in.
to
Yep.
blend in, and then you'll finalize the blend by bringing the 18 into the natural hair.
Yep. But it's like what I said with the locking
Right.
it down like
It,
that,
it's
rather than
it's an integration, not a hard line,
not a hard
right?
line. Yeah. So
So
I'm bringing it down like that.
it's essentially a overlapping, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Sorry, I forget
overlap.
people are listening. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
we're
it's
matching
okay.
the two in together rather than just stopping it and starting another one.
Hey,
So
let's
kind
do
of.
this. Come on, let's do this right here. But sorry, guys, you're gonna have to watch the YouTube version of this for you to realize what just happened right now. You'll absolutely get it. What the hell just
You'll
happened?
understand.
Hayden, all right. So for newer artists, right, that they're intimidated by hairline design, right? And
Yes.
most are, because I'm sure you can, even yourself when you first started, the natural hairline, and it's like if you don't understand the concept, it could be a little intimidating, right? Because you're like, I
For
don't want to
sure.
give this person a hard hairline. That's the last thing
Yeah.
that I want to do.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice that you can give us artists to help us improve for for natural hairline designs?
Giving yourself room, as I touched on earlier, giving yourself room, not starting on your bottom point. You know what I mean? Not starting near that muscle. Give yourself room, because then that way, if you do overcrowd it and make it too dense, you've got room to keep up with that fade. Um, the part about hairline design and being intimidated by the actual physical design of a hairline, don't overcomplicate it. I think what I did when I was starting out, I overcomplicated it, and I needed to have the measurements from the eyes and the lips and I would freak out when I had a client come in and I had to design a full hairline. I would literally, I'd just go into anxiety mode for the day before, and I'm just stressing out the whole time. But just don't overcomplicate it. It's there, and you can see, us as artists, you, me, everyone watching this, you can see where the hairline, majority of the time, people still have a little bit of hair there. You can see the muscles. You get them to clench the jaw. You can see where the side profile is going to come down. Just take your time too. I mean, I still spend 45 minutes to an hour designing hairline sometimes. It just is what it is. I'd rather
Yeah.
have it perfect before I start than, try and scramble and fix it later. So I'll spend a good hour um, designing, working with the client, managing the client's expectations is a big thing too. Um, but yeah, just take your time and give yourself room is the big thing.
Speaking of managing the client's expectations, how do you handle? I know you said culturally where you're at, the hard hairline doesn't exist, but I do often see, and I'm pretty sure you have too, where artists are saying, check out this natural hairline. But what they refer to as a natural hairline is the curvature, the shape, but it
Mm,
still looks pretty defined, right?
mm.
Have you seen that? Or it's just like,
Yes.
you got the slight recession, some widow's peaks,
Recession.
but there's really no fading into it, which what me and you would consider natural, but
Natural.
other artists are just associating the curvature as natural, but it still looks hard. Do
So this
you
is
get,
something.
is that like, do you deal with that? Like, how do you handle a client that wants an unnatural or overly sharp hairline
I
that
won't
really
do it.
doesn't fit their features?
No, I won't
You
do it.
won't do it.
I will. I will. I work with my clients. For me, it's a collaborative effort between me and them. But I'm not going to do something I don't feel comfortable with, because at the end of the day, that's my work walking around on their head. Um, I will give them all the information they need. I'll tell them the reasons why I don't think it's a good idea. And if they still want to go ahead with it, then sorry, just not the client for me. I'm not the artist for you. There might be another artist out there that will do it for you, but it's not me. I haven't had it. Majority of the people that have come to me have they've wanted. I've had people that have wanted it, but when I've actually spoken to them, I've sort of been able to convince them that it wasn't the right idea.
Nice.
But you bring up, like what you bring up was something that I didn't realize until I came to New York, was what you're referring to as natural. People are referring to as the recession points, not the
fade, not the correct.
So when we think of a natural hairline, and I think most people, it's the fade. But now what you're saying, I didn't realize it till I came to New York. People say natural, they just mean the curve, the recession points and things like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it still looks hard. So it's kind of like
still looks hard.
I've seen artists talk crap about the hard hairline, right? Because that it doesn't necessarily has the best rap in the industry, but like I always defend it because as a barber, I know culturally, like here, the sharper the hairline, the more swag and fresh that you are.
Yeah.
But there are some artists that rag on the hard hairline, the straight hairline, but promote natural hairlines, but it's just as hard, but it just curves.
Just a curved hard hairline.
Yeah, to me, that shit looks like a Mickey Mouse hairline. That's what it looks like to me. So it's like, that's not natural.
Yeah, not at all. But like you said, though, the hard hairline has a place, and it can be done. It can be done well. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm not here to shit on it or anything like that. It's just that where I'm from, it's not a thing.
That doesn't.
It's
do you have SMP?
Yep.
Do you have SMP? Can I see your SMP?
I'm wearing a hat. I've got hair, but I had a density fill, like balding at the back. And you can see there's a bit in
at the crown. You did a little. Oh, okay. So you got a density fill on you. All right.
So when I was training, Caitlin, who trained me, they say, you trainers take photos so you can launch your business. You got some marketing stuff. She was taking photos of me working from the top, and she sent them to my wife, and my wife was like, have you seen the back? And because I don't see the back of my head, man.
Right.
And then so she ended up doing my SMP there while I was getting my training.
Oh, nice.
as well.
Got a 2 for 1. Awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
So winning awards, that's awesome, right? To be recognized, right? Especially amongst your peers. But how has that impacted your business and your personal growth in the industry?
Yeah. So these last awards, the ones in New York, they were pretty big for me. Because like I said to you, I come from a place where there's like SMP's very small, and we're just trying to chip away at it and break the industry out into the spotlight. So what I found was it lent a lot of legitimacy to what I've been trying to do. It sort of, for the public eye and for my business, it sort of gave me credibility with clients. They're sort of thinking now, he's not some guy that's just popped up. He's obviously being recognized internationally. He's winning awards. They're seeing more of my work. So when I came back from New York, and this is not a lie, I came back from New York and I was the busiest I've ever been in my life.
That's awesome.
I'm taking on like 3 clients a week.
That's beautiful.
And that's gone from like 3 clients a month. You know what I mean? Now it's just gone, and I can't put it down to anything because I haven't changed anything else. I'm not doing any different marketing. I'm not doing anything like that. I think it's just from that. It makes a difference, man. You've got to get yourself out there. Because we're all, and I find, how do I explain it? Social media is a tool, right? And SMP artists and PMU artists, we all use social media mainly as our marketing and things like that. But you can get caught in this little echo chamber of the same people posting the same things, talking about the same things, and you just get wound up, and then you blow your top because you're not getting anything outside of this little box. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So to get yourself out there, meeting guys like you, Dave, and coming to New York and just meeting other artists from around the world and networking, I guess, has been invaluable for me. Like I can't stress enough how going to not only the Meeting of the Minds events, but just events, just going and meeting other artists and getting out there has done, wonders for my business. And what I'm hoping will be wonders for the SMP industry in New Zealand.
For sure. Well, you'll be paving the way, my friend.
Trying to, brother.
Looking forward, what areas of SMP are you excited to explore or master even further? So, like right now, you know, natural hairlines, that's your thing. Do you see, is there like another, like, do you kind of like maybe scars or something like that? Maybe you decide, you say, you know what, I'm gonna bring hard hairlines to New Zealand.
For me, David, it would definitely be the medical side of scalp micropigmentation, FUE scars, scarring. I did early in my career. I dealt with a lot of alopecia areata, so I'd like to get more back into that side of things. And don't get me wrong, SMP as a whole is rewarding, but I kind of the medical side of things for me. It lends into my business. We do paramedical tattoo here as well, areola, scar camouflage. So it's sort of, but I would really like to get into the scar side of SMP a bit more. I've done a few, but I'd like to get into that a wee bit more. Yeah.
Awesome. Before we wrap it up, Hayden, what's one piece of advice you'd want to share with a new artist or someone who is aspiring to come into our industry?
Don't take it. That's a hard one to. Don't take it too seriously. Don't get caught up by the glitz and the glamour and the lights and the cars and the money, and the way it's going to be marketed to you isn't the way it's always going to work out. Like I said before, social media is a tool. Use it as a tool. Don't get caught up in it, because I did, and it almost sent me crazy. Like you just sit there and you compare yourself. That's it. Don't compare yourself to what other artists are doing, because you'll get there one day, but you've only been doing it for 6 months. So how do you expect to be on the same level as someone that's been doing it for 10 years when you've only been doing it for 6 months? Give yourself time, and give yourself, don't put too much pressure on yourself to be the best straight away, because it takes time. Anything takes time. And this is, if you look past all the smoke and mirrors, this is a great industry that does really help people. So if you can get past all of the other bullshit, then you'll find out that this is a really great industry, and it's an awesome industry to be a part of.
That's great advice, brother. Thank you for that. Before we go, can you let the listeners know where they can go and connect with you? If you got any trainings that are coming out, whether you're in New Zealand or coming over here to New York. If you're coming to New York, we want 5% taxes, by the way.
We have, so you can find me on Instagram at feathertouch_SMP. We have a training coming up, actually. I'm bringing KRT SMP. I'm bringing Will Quaife from London, and I'm bringing Caitlin James. Yeah, Big Will. I'm bringing those three, Caitlin James from Australia. I'm bringing them down to New Zealand. We're doing a 2-day masterclass. Yeah, awesome. So it's four instructors over 2 days. We're having it at my clinic, and we're just gonna. It's kind of, how do you explain? We're just doing everything SMP. You bring your questions to us, and we will help you. It's like a troubleshooting, workshopping. Awesome. We've got models. You bring your own machine. We do silicone work. It's going to be a pretty packed 2 days. I think we're going from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Both days, and it's just everything SMP. It's just everything, because like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know, and it's just a space to bring that and workshop it out and try and elevate your game and get better. That's on the 15th and 16th of February, so pretty soon. Apart from that's all I've got coming up, bro.
Awesome. Well, Hayden, again, brother, I appreciate you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for giving us a little mini masterclass on achieving some faded hairlines there. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions Podcast. So till the next time, guys and gals, peace.
Take it easy.
What's up, everyone? David Santiago here. Let's talk about taking your S&P business to the next level with Guild Payment Solutions. Cash is king, but what happens when your client doesn't have cash? That's where a reliable credit card processing solution comes in. With Guild Payment Solutions, you can securely accept cards, manage transactions, and get paid faster, whether you're running a studio or selling products online. It's more than just convenience, it's a business upgrade. Credit card processing builds trust, keeps your finances organized, and ensures that you'll never lose a paying client. Don't hold your business back. Visit guildpaymentsolutions.com today and see how they can transform the way you operate your S&P business.